Yo, the diddler strikes again, and this time I don't think he's coming out. Alright, we got Dylan Page, who's basically said the shocking testimonies from Diddy's trial. Alright, let's go.
Here we go again with Diddy. But this is truly one of those stories that just gets crazier the more you hear. So, this week, the long-awaited criminal trial for Diddy has officially entered the courtroom. And I know that the whole Diddy situation online has become a bit of a meme, but after listening to some of these testimonies on the first couple of days, like, this is rapidly turning into...
Look at bro's face. Why they draw him like that? Why did they draw Diddy like that, man?
One of the most disturbing celebrity trials in recent history, in recent memory. Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend and one of the trial's key witnesses, took to the stand today and said that she was forced into bizarre, days-long freak-offs with complete strangers, while Diddy allegedly filmed all of it and then used that footage to blackmail her. I mean, this is starting to feel like the Jeffrey Epps trial that we never got. She claimed that he had controlled her entire life, from her money to where she lived, all while physically abusing her and threatening her if she stepped out of line. And the thing is that that's just Cassie, one person. The US government isn't trying to prosecute him for domestic violence. They are trying to prosecute him for sex trafficking and racketeering, meaning that Cassie represents just the beginning. So today we're going to be breaking down what's been happening so far, what allegations and testimonies have been made, and of course,
why they keep drawing my bro? No. Why they keep drawing him like that?
Of one of the craziest trials I think we're going to see in a while. So subscribe to the channel to honor all of the sacrificial lambs that have reminded you to subscribe. And let's just stop the yapping and let's get cracking.
That's a muscle memory in that.
Okay, so before we get into all of the gritty details, let's just lay down the basics so Alex isn't confused. Because I hear, Alex, you got a few questions about this video. Lay them on me. Who's taken the stand so far, you ask? Cassie Ventura is the first major witness. She's dated Diddy for over 10 years, and she's been testifying about
over 10 years. 10 years. Bro. 10 years. Imagine being passed like a blunt for 10 years. How can you stand that? How does that even happen? How do you get involved with a person like Diddy? I mean, I heard like he comes to you, you know what I'm saying? But bro, oh my God, this is horrible. 10 years. 10 years.
Everything from blackmail to abuse to baby oil. There's been a ridiculous amount of talk about baby oil. We'll get into it, but it's what the
corn casserole.
On deck are some other witnesses too, people from like Diddy's inner circle, like assistants and staff who might help fill in the gaps. And there's a lot more of this, but we'll get into it.
Bro, it's not just him, his staff, everybody who helped him do the dirt has to get back. Every single person who helped him do his deed needs to get back, because every single person is literally responsible. They all have to get back, every single one. And like, Cassie's the first one, and it's already this bad. These freakos, I'm hearing about UTIs, STDs. I'm hearing everything, and that's just one person. I wonder who else is gonna pull up, and hopefully this guy doesn't, get people, assassinated and things like that before they can even show up to testify.
Next question that Alex has: Diddy is facing serious federal charges. To name a few: racketeering conspiracy, think organized crime vibes, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and even transporting people for prostitution. And keep in mind, while the government is questioning witnesses, they are trying to convince the jury that Diddy didn't just act alone. It was a criminal enterprise. They allege that he built a system to carry out these crimes, like all over Hollywood. Think like Jeffrey Epps, but like the celebrity version. Other questions Alex probably has is no, there is no cameras, unfortunately. That's why you're seeing Alex's AI or sketches. And remember, Alex, he has gray hair now. You better factor that into your artistic creations. Anyway, now that Alex is all caught up, well done, Alex. You're here with us. Sorry, Alex. Here's what's been happening. Cassie turned up heavily pregnant, and she was wearing a dress that really showed it too. Now, Diddy's defendants actually didn't really want this, and they spoke to the court beforehand because they thought that, the jury would kind of be empathizing with her if she turns up pregnant and, you know, wearing a tight dress.
So what's she supposed to do? Get rid of the baby before she shows up to the court date? What kind of nonsense is that?
Anyway, point is, they took an L right off the bat. Now, I'm not going to go through everything she spoke about, frankly, partly because I don't want to. Some of this, I don't even think I can say on here, and consider that your warning, because some of the stuff we'll go through is very graphic to the point where I don't even want to read it. But prosecutors questioned Cassie a lot about these freak-offs that she had with Diddy. She described them as some of the most dehumanizing and traumatizing parts of her relationship with him. According to her testimony, these events were highly orchestrated you-know-what sessions, and they also involved strangers, like hired escorts, male escorts. Diddy would allegedly set them up and order them to do certain...
Wait, what? What? As prosecutors pressed Miss Ventura for graphic details, one key element emerged. Miss Ventura claimed that Mr. Combs controlled every part of the encounters. He chose the outfits she wore down to the extremely high heels she kept on for hours, as well as the sexual acts that transpired and the lighting. Miss Ventura told jurors, if Sean wanted something to happen, that was what was going to happen, she said. I couldn't say no. Sometimes Miss Ventura said she would take the lead on which male escorts to hire because Mr. Combs was very busy, but she only did so at his direction, she said. She said Freakos had a very specific pattern of sexual acts each time. He was controlling the whole situation, she alleged. He was directing it. At times, Miss Ventura said she tried to tell Mr. Combs that she felt horrible, but when he dismissed her concern, she said she relented, worried he would get angry or question their relationship. Yeah, I guess he was blackmailing her. But the question is, why did she stay? You see what I'm saying? Because as much as the situation is horrible, I don't know. Maybe she didn't have any power to actually leave because it's Diddy. He's got connections everywhere. So even if she did leave, okay, this guy could get her back within seconds because of his his connections and the power and influence he had.
And things. I mean, we've kind of heard these things before, but now it's in the record. And she also accused him of recording everything that, so when they raided his place, they must have had, I don't even know how many video files. She said that the longest single freak-off lasted 4 days. She said that these sessions became like a job, like...
Jesus Christ, man. Full-time employment dick sucking profession. Occasionally I get sores in my tongue from freak-offs, from substances and just friction in my mouth, from oral sex. Also from having my mouth on things. Oil, Astroglide, lubricants. Ventura recalled the exhaustion she felt after each sex session. I felt so tired, achy, really dehydrated because you're up for so long. Not really eating so much, she said. Just empty, she added, for her emotional state. Especially if we didn't continue, I'd stay with him, she said. Bruh.
Leaving her dehydrated, exhausted, and needing time to recover. Okay, this is the wild part. She detailed how Diddy would instruct the other male escorts to...
This is some Dubai shit, man. This is some stuff you see in Dubai. Literally, I would be surprised if Diddy had customers in Dubai. I'm not going to lie to you, because I've heard worse stuff happening to models, like Instagram models that go to do the potty stuff, like...
to urinate on her. Okay. I'm just gonna have to read this word for word, this next part. Prosecutor, what would happen after the escort finished on you? Cassie.
Somebody explain some of these fetishes to me because it makes no sense. How does urinating turn someone on? Like, is it the smell? Is it the fact that you are dominant over someone and urinating over them? And then what do you do after that? Do you, like, go kiss them? Like, do you interact with them in any form of way? Like, do you like eat the shit off of them or something? I don't know, man. Somebody explain it to me.
Sean would want it put on his body in the next room. Prosecutor, did you do that? Cassie, I did. Prosecutor, where? Cassie, usually on his nipples.
Oh my god, you cannot make this shit up, man. You cannot make this shit up.
Signed up for in life. Bro, this is just rough speaking about. Imagine living through this, and this is Hollywood, man. What the flip? Now, I'm just gonna say that's the most I can manage. But I do think it's important to include it in there because it gives you an idea of how bizarre things are in this courtroom right now with a case like this. I mean, another example, they had an over 10-minute argument in court with all of these professionals about baby oil. Like, so much to the point where the judge had to stop and, like, sidebar everyone. They heard how Diddy would tell Cassie to get into an inflatable pool filled with baby oil with her clothes on and then slide along the... What the hell, man? I can't even say this stuff. And that they would go through 10 bottles, the big bottles of baby oil at every freak-off. When asked by prosecutors why she would put up with all of this, she said stuff like if she refused or did anything to upset him, Diddy not only had enough compromising footage to ruin her career, but also that, frankly, she was terrified of him. She said that she would wake up in the morning and never know which version she would get. She said some mornings he was calm, but others, the slightest wrong face could result in him hitting her in the face. Probably one of the most horrifying details in her testimony was she described being stomped on the head when she was already on the ground. And now obviously we've probably already all seen the footage of, you know, when they were in that hotel, that incident that happened in 2016 but was released recently. That gives you an idea. Now, here's another crazy part about this whole situation. Some of the reporters who were actually let into the courtroom for this trial, they said that Diddy's defense has admitted to, you know, him beating Cassie, to domestic violence, to assault, etc. Like yeah, he did it. But they're saying that's not what he's charged for. Bro, imagine that. Where things are so bad, where you're kind of like, yeah, well, let's just admit to some of the most horrendous things because it's not as bad as what you're actually being accused of. That's like...
See, this is why I don't like the whole back and forth of court, because it's not about whether you're guilty or not. It's about, okay, like the specifics. They try to use the specifics to get you out of a situation instead of just considering the whole thing in general. This is how I love like criminals and people who just shouldn't be out are literally just out and about, and then they commit the crime again. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why a lot of people don't like lawyers, because some lawyers, they're just in it for the money. Like, they don't care about, you know, who they're defending and how they might impact society. All they care about is, you know, feeding themselves.
Like a dark hole. But it is true. You know, remember, the US government is trying to find him guilty of sex trafficking, racketeering, not domestic violence. But then again, at the same time, remember, this is just day 2. The prosecution is likely, through things like talking about the baby oil and the freak-offs, laying down the groundwork to establish a pattern of control or abuse. And then that can be further supported by additional witnesses talking about different areas. And I guess that's the perfect segue to the last question. What is to come? Well, firstly, most legal experts are saying that this kind of case, how high profile it is, it's gonna last for like several weeks. And probably because of how connected he was with some of the biggest celebrities in the world, will include a lot of big names in certain testimonies. So yeah, if you wake up one morning and all of the headlines read some big name and there's some huge controversy around it, well, it's probably because of the Diddy trial. And honestly, it feels like it's a little bit of a reckoning against the entertainment industry, Hollywood in particular right now. Because think, just in the past few years, we've had people like R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, the Me Too movement, even the Nickelodeon documentary Quiet on Set. They're all kind of revealing things that happened many, many years ago, but we're only we're only being held accountable for now. And one of the craziest parts is that Diddy, compared to those, what he's being accused of is actually quite a big leap beyond what we've seen prior. So yeah, this is truly going to be a pretty wild case, and even in just 2 days, it's probably stranger and crazier than I thought. But either way, we're going to be talking about this a lot in the days to come, so I'll keep you guys updated. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video.
Yeah, look, man. A lot of people in Hollywood are about to be exposed. A lot of people are about to lose their livelihoods, and I'm sure they've already prepared. You know what I'm saying? And my heart goes out to all the victims on what this guy did, because, bruh, I hope every single person who was involved with this guy, right, anybody that went to his parties and participated, right, I hope they all get name dropped, or at least a good majority of them get name dropped, and that their careers end, because, bruh, look, if I have to guess, right, I'd say anybody that we've seen that likes little kids and stuff like that, most likely is there. Like, I'm just saying.